Hello, everybody. You are welcome to the morning. Oh, sorry. This is the midday show live on ECWA Television International. And yes, you know how we do it. We go to different countries. We talk about their daily lives, daily activity, what they do, and then their lifestyle. So you're welcome. But I don't want to tell you where we are going to. Just keep watching the program. Go on your Facebook or YouTube, watch and send in your comments as we go into the program. I have my sister here with me in the studio. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm fine. Well, I want you to call my full name before I say something.
Okay, Magdalene Solomon Azar.
Where are we?
We are in Solomon Island. So
Of course, you
Yeah.
have heard it from Linda. We are in Solomon Island, and we want to talk about these people. I find them, I find them, beautiful in their
yeah,
own way. They
actually.
have this kind of natural gold color. I think it's
Yeah.
because of the fact that it is from their gene actually. But then they said it is called the Solomon Island because King Solomon
Solomon,
found a gold
gold,
there
yeah.
and all that. And I'm like, is that the reason why they have the gold hair or what?
Yeah, actually, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
But yeah, we are in Solomon
Solomon
Island. We
Island.
have a lot of things we need to do from, the boats. I think I want to go to another village through the boats because that is
Okay.
how,
Yeah, the
they,
means of
they
transportation.
basically,
Yeah.
transport themselves, even though for the rich people, you can use the plane.
plane, actually.
Yeah, but we want
But
to
then-
explore. We want to have the experience. We want to have like everything. It doesn't
Yeah,
have
all
to
the
be
fun.
enjoyment,
Of
enjoyment.
course, yeah,
And it's not
sure.
all about fun or beautiful or enjoyable or
Yeah.
we just need to explore all round anyhow whatever
Whatever
country
and
it is,
however
but we
it
need
is.
to experience how they are and then what they do on a daily
Yeah.
basis. And that was why we just said, okay, let's come to Solomon
Solomon
Island and then talk about what they do. And I would say I really love their women and how they hold their homes. Yeah, and it is a pity that their women there don't really have that education,
Yeah,
but
actually.
still yet they still go to the farm, do some fishing, do some things, a lot of things that they need to do for them to keep their home stable, for them to keep taking care of their children and all that. So I really admire that about them.
Yeah, it's very interesting to know that even if you're a woman and you don't go to school, you still have something to do. It's more like education is not really something they look into very well for women, because they said over for the men is like almost 70 something percent of them have gone to school, they're educated, and then for the women it's just a little above 40%. But then they still find a way to do a lot of things for themselves. In as much as they have a lot of things to do in the house, they still try to go to the farm, they go for fishing,
They go to the
just they go to the
market.
market, and then they take care of the home. They don't really show like they have a problem, because it's more like it is something that has been there for a while, like for a long time. So like they don't really see it as a problem, so they just do their best. They just see it that, okay, this is what we're supposed to do. And then it's interesting to know that they don't think of any other thing apart from going to the farm to cook, apart from bringing up some things to the house for the children, for the husband and relatives and all of that. They think of their family like it's key to them, that the love they show for each other is amazing. In as much as they don't have much, they said little of them are just working, like go to work and all of that. Like just 2% of women were elected into the government, and then that is all it has been ever since. But right now they don't really think about being in the government anymore, or even in politics. All they think about is to do something that is going to give them, that is going to bring something to the house. Going to the farm is, most times they think about going to the farm is just for the men, but then they've taken it upon themselves to go to the farm, to take care of the house, to go fishing as well. And then I used to think fishing is just for men, like at some point, like mainly for men. But the women in Solomon Island have taken it upon themselves to go for fishing, and then they go to the market to sell this fish, and then they try to get something out of it, just to buy food. Because most of the people in Solomon Island, in as much as it's not really a big place like that. Like they don't really have, they're not too much in that place, but at least they have something to eat. But then I think almost 12% don't have anything to, like they don't even eat 2 square meals in a day. Like they just try to manage themselves, but they're still happy because there are people that will feel because I don't have food, or because I don't have money, I'm not happy and stuff like that. There are people that they can't just stay without having money. But people in Solomon Island, they are happy people. They go for hiking even when they don't have
They
anything.
have high level of resilience.
Actually,
because just imagine
yeah.
not having money and then
True,
you're still.
and
But I think that is the reason why they have high rate of crime in that place.
Yeah,
because
true.
the young people are
jobless,
not
actually.
working, they are not employed, and so many of them just feel like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't have a lot of things to do, I'll just go around, see anything I can do
Yeah,
to
to
harm
have
somebody or
something.
to do something. But it is really important that the government has to
Yeah.
put their attention into making, even though there are programs now,
Yeah.
to empower the young people. They're just also, as there are programs, to empower the women too, and for women building
Yeah.
capacity, like to build their capacity, to know their rights, to know when to say no,
No,
to know
yeah.
when to say right, and then to
Yes.
build laws for women that will protect women, especially married women.
Actually.
I don't know if I want to get married in Solomon Island, because when you're married in Solomon Island, you can't say no to your husband when you're not
Actually.
interested in doing some kind of
Yeah,
things
which
that
is sad.
like women go through a lot. You have to go to the farm, you
Yeah.
have to go to the market, you have to take care of the
You get home
family,
and you're
you have to take
tired.
care of your husband, and most times you go to the same farm with that same husband, and then come back to the house
you're preparing
to take
food.
care of everything you need to do, take care of the man, and then when it comes to certain responsibilities that you don't want to
still-
perform as a
yeah.
woman, it becomes a problem.
problem to them.
And that is why these people they have like women program now that protects them
Yeah,
from this kind of, or to enlighten them on how to go around it, because it's becoming like violence now in most of the homes.
Yeah.
But then they are being told how to go about it. And apart from that, even as a woman in the village, or even as a woman that is not educated, you should know some basic information or knowledge. You should have a basic knowledge of how to go around doing things, because trust me, it's not all about being in the village. Even people in the village now need education, because they have initiative, or they have some programs,
Yeah.
like government programs or private programs, where people come to help these women, or not even the women, people come to help, especially the farmers, giving them some little help with monies and all that. If you don't know how to read, or if you are not educated enough to calculate some kind of little
things,
money,
yeah.
people can take advantage
you.
of you. And then there are some things you need to know about the seeds. There are some information you need to know about how to make better use of your farm, especially in these days. And women don't even have a lot of land. In fact, they have 2%
So, yeah, 2%.
ownership of land in Solomon Island. Everything in Solomon Island for the women is just 2%. And I'm so pissed off. I'm
Yeah,
feeling
actually,
like
sad.
I'm feeling that. But just the way I said, it is not all about fun.
Actually.
Even though it is fun or not, we have to visit, we have to go everywhere,
true.
and then spread the gospel. It is actually a Christian dominated
yeah.
country, but then because of the high rate of some kind of things, we are here to give them the gospel.
Of course. Yeah, talking about giving them the gospel, there are over 90% of them are Christians. Like they worship, they know what they need to do, like as Christians, and how to worship God and keep to their obligations, even at home or workplaces or any other place they find themselves. When you're talking about safety in Solomon Island, we need to be careful with a lot of things.
We need to.
Yeah, of course, holding your handbag, because they can actually just pickpocket, snatch your bag, and maybe just do something to you that is ridiculous. So then, talking about being careful, we really have to be careful.
And another thing is, like, they will distract you.
Yeah, of
maybe
course.
with some kind of sweet gist, and then when you lose
Yeah,
that,
it happens. It's not just in Solomon Island. There are places where you go, somebody can just try to ask you something. Then before you try to answer, someone is trying to pick your pocket or try to snatch your bag or something. And then the way you're holding your bag matters as well, because when you're holding your bag, maybe you're just swinging, someone can just snatch it from you. And then putting up phones and then money and all of that is really is something for us to be careful
have
about.
you been to Lagos?
No, I haven't.
There was a time before I went to Lagos, I was told that when you get to Lagos, you have to, hold your bag, do what. And then the first time I went to Lagos, it it is actually a funny experience, but you
Yeah.
know, most of these countries we have places where you know, especially places that are very crowded,
Yeah,
they
of
tell
course.
you to be careful with your, you know, belongings and all that.
Belongings,
So when
yeah.
we got to Lagos, trust me, our bags were here, and even people were like, don't you
What's
know that,
wrong?
don't you know that it is the way you're holding the bag
Yeah,
that
that
you
shows there's
call. I
something
said I
inside
don't
that will
care,
attract
as
them.
long as the bag is here,
Yeah.
is not where the person cannot come and struggle with
Of
the bag
course,
with me
yeah.
now. So I have to protect my bag. So I think that is exactly what I'm going
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
doing
of
here
course
in
you have
Solomon
to, because
Island.
safety matters. Because you know, when they try to do something to you, maybe you try to retaliate, they can do something bad to you, because they don't really do anything, like especially the young people over there, because the rate of employment is really low for them.
But I think it's
So
because of the, you know, most of these young people don't even go to school. The
yeah,
highest
of
they go is
course,
primary school.
primary school, you understand, and then so that is why they feel they can't just stay at home, because even their parents, is not everything they can provide for them. So then they just want to feel okay, they want to earn a living, and then you didn't go to school, so how do you want to get a good job? Like, so you just want to do something for yourself, like maybe you pickpocket, you snatch things from people, maybe you steal in the market and all of that. And then the thing is, even when you're being caught with all these crimes, like they don't really do anything to you there, because it's more like it's another way of them living, like another way of them earning things, but which I feel it is wrong, because you taking something that does not belong to you is actually bad. Because even the Bible has taught us not to take what does not belong to us. So then you really need to be careful, because when they do that, it's not, even if they do that to you, you can't fight them, because they have weapons that they can actually protect themselves and even injure you. So would you want to stay and see someone try to injure you and then cut your body because you want to collect maybe your bag or your phone? Life goes on,
And
and then you still
especially
get it.
for people that are just visiting,
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
sometimes you wouldn't know how
How to go about to go to
because
places
you'll
and
be
all
very
of that.
careful
Yeah.
not to do or say something that might want them to harm you, or might want,
Yeah.
you know, to just change their minds from collecting and going, you know, to just harming you. So you have to be very careful, or we have to
be
be very
careful,
careful. And even people that are
least.
watching us, if they are going there, and it's not every part of,
Of
you know, Solomon
Solomon
Island
Island
that you
is
get to
bad.
see
Yeah,
this kind of
actually.
things. But I just feel like the government, because the government has like a very low level of supporting the education
Yeah.
of, you know, this country, because their public schools are not like that much. And then even if it's not every part, you know, of the country, or every part of the local areas that have schools, so you see like students trekking from one place to another, or you know, using the boats. And sometimes them, they feel like it's a stressful thing for them to have to travel from one place to another,
another.
even though the young people actually, it is more like it's a fun thing for them to just be in the boat, you know, going round. But they would rather go round, you know, the island doing something else, instead of them doing or going to school. The government has not made it compulsory for them to go to school, and the government has not made it like a free education for them.
Yeah.
And then the parents, some of the parents are really struggling for them to even eat. Sometimes they are struggling for them to even a square meal.
Square meal.
You understand? Not to talk of
Sad.
like 3 square meals in the day, or not to talk of paying their tuition,
school fees.
education, school
School
fees and all
fees.
that. And the reason why most of these people don't even go to, you know, they don't exceed primary school is because of the fact that they have to, most of the colleges are in town. So the ones that are in the village now cannot access, you know, the town. Or sometimes, and they have a little bit high cost of living there,
Yeah,
to the
right.
extent that even with the fact that all these things are happening, but the living is a little bit expensive. So the ones living in the village find it very difficult for them to go to the city to go and, you know, educate themselves, because you have to accommodate yourself, you have to also pay your transportation and all those things. So it has made it a little bit difficult for them to want to just have that kind of interest to go to school. But you still find some other ones that naturally they have this inbuilt interest that God has given them, for them to be able to just go to
Little
school.
but not
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, when you're talking about having everything they do and all the things that they do just to develop themselves, they said there's a part at which the good for wood production, because it helps them to actually get maybe making of chairs, maybe bed, and all sorts of things, doors, windows, and all of that. So then some of them in which that's people that a little, I think above maybe 5 or 10%, that they feel okay, it is actually wrong for them to pickpocket, for them to actually do something bad. They've tried their best to involve themselves in doing something that is going to bring money for them, in as much as it's little. Because when they talk about saying you're going for wood production, and then somebody can just come to get it, and then it's actually expensive to get it there because it's an island. So they said
They have trees.
they have trees. So then having trees, and then all the things that they get out of it is actually something that is building some of them. Then actually take care of their families. There's a little of them that have food to eat are actually the ones that that look very happy. Because when you see their faces, they actually look happy. Like, it's more like they don't even have a choice than to be happy and be like, okay, this is it. Like, and then when you think about people who are going through a lot, and you don't really understand this person, what's really wrong with this person? Like, is this person happy, or is this person sad, or does he have something to eat or not? But then you realize they're just happy people. It's just little that breaks them down, because it's more like they're used to it already. So like, just look at a newborn baby that is growing up, maybe let's say a year old, and then he tries to understand this is it, and then it's not everybody that understands when he's hungry. Like, a small baby now will be crying and be telling you he's hungry, then you don't have anything to give to him. It's actually sad. But then when you think of other people that have something to give to you, you can go to them. The thing is, they don't really beg other people, like going on the streets begging. Like, that's one thing that I see is actually interesting, because you don't have anything to eat, but then you don't go to beg. Is it that you go to hustle?
It's not better you beg than to
go and pick pockets and snatch bags and all of that. But then they see it like it's more like pride for them to go and beg, and so they feel it's like part of their own hustling for them to hustle. So that's the more reason why you need to be careful, because if they can, I think I prefer you coming to beg me for food or to beg for money. At least it's better than for you to take it by force, because that's actually bad and it's sad. So then, talking about what they want to do over there, they actually make things possible for themselves. Because if you try to say this thing is what I want to do, and then you're not doing it right, or you're doing and then it's not falling into place, you still want to try. They don't really give up easily. That's something interesting, because if you try to say you're doing this for yourself and it's not working out, and then you want to just give up, it's sad to know that you're giving up. And then still they have a lot of things they do for fun, in as much as they try their best. Like, okay, they don't really have things to do, but then they go to the beach most times to just go and sit, maybe talk to people, maybe just have fun, have something to eat. They have when they go to fish, and then when they go to the market to sell it, there are a lot of, they have different things they do with fish, and then they have what goes with it. So then when you talk about having fun in Solomon Island, I think we're going to have fun, because when you think of going to the beach, or maybe you want to go for skyscraping, or you want to go, you just want to do something to have fun, at least you have someone that's going to put you through. You have someone that's going to tell you, okay, this thing you're going to do is not safe for you because it's your first time. Maybe someone is going to guide you to do it, and then once you're doing it, you realize if you don't have that fear in you, you will succeed in doing it. But then if you have that fear, they said they have a lot of sharks.
They have a lot of marine
and
life
snakes
there.
Yeah, so when you and then they said there's a difference. There's a one that would not harm you, but how would you differentiate them? Like, would you start checking, okay, this is the one that is going to harm me? And so then we really need to be careful, because when you see all these things, you might not know which one is going to harm you. So then being careful is going to be one of the things you should do in Solomon Island, because it's just more like you're saving yourself. Because if you end up, if something happens to you, what would you do?
There are some people that will be watching you now and be like, what's this girl saying? Like, I really love experiencing.
Yeah,
some
true.
people, it just feels like it's an experience for them to just go somewhere, have that kind. Everybody has his own interest.
Yeah.
But then,
Not for
from
me.
that is not for me.
Yeah, actually.
But then that is what other people, that is what these people
Yeah.
do. Talking about fun, these people love, like, you can go to the beach and see them even playing football. You
Yeah.
can go to the beach and just see them having, their own time. And when it's evening, there's a way these people come together, like all the young ones come together, to do this kind of evening play. I think this evening play is almost like in
It's
every
everywhere,
part of
yeah.
the world, where you would see people coming together just to have fun. After going to the farm, after going to the market,
working,
after doing
cooking
a
and
lot
all
of
of
things
that.
and all, even some people that have not finished their chores or finished
They
all
still
they
want
need
to
to
come
do,
out to
because they're
just think,
thinking, there's this,
This time.
they all also go there to,
Yeah.
to play. But then I would want to say the government should put, mind, because actually there's high rate of corruption in that country, and that is why till now the development
not
there is
developed,
still
yeah.
really backward. And when you talk about their exposure, they don't really have so much exposure, and then I think that is the more reason why these people don't have interest in going to school.
school,
And if people don't have interest in going to school, there's lack of exposure. I don't think I don't think they are
There's
going
no
to
internet,
grow.
so like
Because it is more like, in fact, do you know they said information is spread through gossip there.
gossip. Just
You do-
imagine, like, really,
This is a full-time job. I think people should be paid for that.
honestly.
Yes, because it is not easy for people to keep
Actually.
taking, like, it. In fact, it is. I think it's just part of them. Like, just talk and then it's just
It's just
everywhere.
spreading, yeah.
But then, how can someone live in this kind of, century, or in this very
There's
world
no
we are now?
internet,
There's no
there's
internet.
nothing.
It
How do
is
you get
not every part.
information?
It is
Yeah,
not every
true.
part. Especially, it is the local areas that don't really have the internet. But when you go to like some of the developing cities, you will definitely get internet. But most people are being deprived of, having to understand what the internet is all about, and some of the information they can get through internet. They don't need to travel. And just imagine sending message to your people down to the village, because sometimes you can't even communicate with them,
Yeah,
because
actually.
there's no
Means of
access to, like, there's no
communication.
means to communicate with them. So you have to sometimes travel down to the city when you want to, travel down to the village when you want to see your people, or when you want to pass
Imagine.
an information and all that. So
Yeah.
I just think they need to do.
Even when maybe there's a message that needs to be passed, most times they use the town criers. And then, like, how many town criers are they going to have in a particular place, so just to pass information? Maybe something is going to happen. Maybe, let's say, there's going to be an event, like maybe a major event. When we know that today you can just, maybe is in the internet, like anybody
They should
can just
announce
see it.
our arrival.
Actually, because, like, it's actually not really interesting, not cool at all for you to know that people get information these days. Like, once you want something, the internet is your friend. Like, you can just get anything you want. But these people, like, it's more like they don't really know what it means in this part of the country, because when you try to say, okay, this is the information, or this is what is supposed to be passed, and then it doesn't just happen like that, because you don't just see it, you don't just hear it until, how can I just wait and then get information through gossip? That's when you will just know, okay, this thing happened to this person, like, let's say last week or last 2 weeks.
And to be honest, before it gets to the last year, just imagine
Do you understand,
how
like, how it has changed?
and
Yeah,
all.
because it's not cool at all. But I think the government really need to do something about it. In as much as it's still developing, in as much as they're still doing their best to do all these things, they should just try to make sure that these things change. Because when you think of saying, okay, they produce, maybe they have something they do, going to the farm, and then, because that's like the major their major income over there, because when you go to the farm, it's more like that is the only thing you have, and then you try to sell it to get the income. And then what if it did not produce anything that year? So what happens to you? It's really sad, because when you think about it, when you think, like, I've seen a particular village where, like, somewhere I've been to, that something happened that year, that all the farm produce, like, there was nothing. So, like, it was more like famine everywhere. And then it wasn't funny at all, because now there's no money, because you can't just say, okay, you put in your best, like, all the money you've labored for, you put into this farm, and then everything, and then you're just waiting for something to come out of it, and then there's nothing. Then you realize you're just staying there, there's no food, there's no money. So what will happen to you? Then you now start looking malnourished, start looking, that is when you now start stealing. Because start taking things that does not belong to them. You travel to different villages to go and steal. And then when you talk about saying this thing does not belong to you and you're taking it, like, people don't have conscience. Because something that does not belong to you and you're taking it, how would you feel? Because if someone should take yours from you without your consent, it's something that you feel bad. So then how would you let someone go through all those things? They have there's this charity organization over there in Solomon Island that they are actually doing a lot to help the youth over there. Because
They
when
have
you
a
talk
major
about,
population
yes,
there.
they have a major population there. Because when you think of saying they don't have anything they're doing, but then this particular group of people make sure they teach you a lot, even if you don't go to school. Actually, they try to teach you maybe something for you to do for yourself, to be an entrepreneur. Because when you don't develop yourself, who will do that for you? You can't continue to live saying you're depending on someone, saying this is what is maybe the government. No, then you cannot just say you're going to do this. Do something for yourself, but not to take what does not belong to you. Because when you work for something, you get paid at the end. So there are places where they employ people, where you just go to work, all these menial jobs, like you just go to do it and then you get paid. There are people that still think that thing is possible. Some will tell you they cannot go there because they feel they are more than that. But then you don't even have something to call your own. So why would you have that kind of pride to say
And
this
then
is
some
it?
people, it's because of the fact that they have to leave their villages,
villages,
then
yeah.
go to the cities where some of them
don't
don't
know
even have
anybody.
relations
Yeah,
there.
true.
So when you go there, you have to start from
Of
beginning.
course.
Sometimes you
But
will see
that's the
some people
hustle.
sleeping on the streets
Yeah,
in some
true.
kind of
That's
corners
true.
that is
Yeah.
not,
Which is not even
is not
safe.
good for them and all that. And talking about that, I will relate it to, the health care,
Yeah.
which is, well, when it is always like, okay, when you're in the city, you have the best healthcare
Yeah,
system,
actually.
but when you go back to the villages, you see
There's
how people are
nothing.
suffering from lack of, so many things that they need, especially the pregnant women in Solomon Island, the pregnant women, and also the children.
Children,
Yeah, and the mortality rate of the children is really high,
high.
because the women will give birth to the child, at that tender age. And some of these people really believe in, when you give birth to a child, you need to start giving the child water and all. So when
the
they
water
start
is
giving
not
the
clean.
child water, and their water is not really a
clean,
flowing
yeah.
water, it's stagnant. Most of the waters there
Yeah.
are stagnant. So it is not really that clean. And there are some environment, again, when you go there, you see them dumping refuge anyhow. So it now, washes down to the streams, and then they get the water, they drink the water, and then these young children at that tender age, at that young age, they start drinking that water, and before you know it, like before they get the age of 5, they are dead already. Most of them die before the age of 5.
Which is
So it's
sad.
really down. It's really sad, and I just feel like, apart from the government doing something for them, they should be very careful how they dump things around. Especially, there is a lot of mosquitoes. I think it's because of the water they
Of
have
course,
there.
what do you
They have a
expect?
lot of mosquitoes, and they're so struggling with malaria almost all the time. And even these young children that are being born to the world not so long, some of
Yeah,
them
they're
are,
still
they
drinking.
just get infected by, some of these small diseases here and there. The next thing they're in the hospital, the next thing they're gone, because they do not have like so many medical practitioners there. So,
there,
and sometimes it's because of the nature of the village. Some of these people don't really feel like they are going to be posted there, and then they are going to like it. You just find out it's just a little bit, like a little number of maybe the practitioners or the medical people.
Yeah,
Especially,
they
it's even the
decline.
nurses you can even
Yeah, of
get there,
course,
not
yeah.
even the doctors. The doctors come once in a while,
Once in a while,
and then
which is
just go.
sad.
So just imagine when somebody has an emergency.
And there's no one to take care of you. And then the nurses over there are limited. Like you can actually count them. Like they're not just much, and they're just in particular places, not all the villages.
Yes.
Because just imagine when they tell a doctor this is where you're supposed to be. Once he gets there and he realizes that this place is not something good, like he leaves immediately. Like they don't even think of saying, okay, maybe this place I need to be here because I need to take care of people. They don't even feel that, because they feel it's even going to affect them.
Only the doctors who are very comfortable with that is when all these doctors that work with charity organizations
Yeah.
that are trying to help these people, they know what they've signed for.
Actually.
So when they get there, they make sure that they stay there and do what took them there. But at the end, what we are saying is that these things should stop. Okay,
Actually,
these
yeah.
people are dying. They
Seriously.
need care, they need help, they need to be sensitized. That is another thing again. It is not just to give them the medication, but they should also be sensitized about how they should live, how they should stay clean, how they should stay healthy, what to eat, what not to eat. It is an island. I think they should have a lot of fruits. Maybe
Yes,
we
of
should go
course,
around
yeah.
and see the kind of fruits they have. And then they have a lot of fishes, a lot of... In fact, these people should not be hungry, sorry. Yes, no.
Yeah, actually.
They should not be hungry.
They should not be hungry, but then the process, because it's not just everybody that can actually afford to go there to maybe get something. Like, I'm actually trying to
I
understand.
can be eating fish every day now.
And you think
And I'm
you'll
not
be
look
okay
mal-
with it?
Will I look malnourished? I think
Of
I
course
was
now.
thinking fish has a lot of,
Protein.
I was thinking is good for the body.
It is, but then you can't just continue to eat it like every day. Like you don't have any other food again except
It's not
fish.
only fish that is there now, at least.
Okay, fish and what? You want to be eating shark?
But you said you were going to start eating immediately you got to
Yeah, I thought of
Solomon
that
Island.
actually, but
Did you
then,
change your
like-
mind? I think you should
I
take that
didn't.
cassava pottage.
Yeah, that cassava pot is actually Yeah, it's actually good, but I think I'll try it.
There's this food you
And
called, you said moi,
poi, yes, they said poi is actually like maybe they're just an unofficial meal over there. Like they don't really just eat it like that. Like it's just like a side dish for them. It's actually good, like just, but they don't really see it as maybe their major meal. But then that cassava pudding is something that they really like. More like that's what they can have it breakfast, lunch, dinner. Then like people can actually afford that immediately, because once you just go to the farm, they have cassava, like they can just come back, and then it's not, they don't really go through any stress in preparing it. So like they also have fun in eating it, and then they can actually eat fish as well. And then that fish, now eating that fish, they can actually prepare it with any other thing. It goes with rice, it goes with bananas, and even plantain, and the rest of them.
I'm even saying like it goes with pineapple.
Yeah, it goes with pineapple as well. Like it goes with anything
What kind
that
of
they
food
feel
is that?
that they feel. Maybe we should try. That's why maybe you know how it feels.
But I
like.
think before we try it, let's go on a break
Okay.
so that we'll have enough time
All right.
to eat whatever we want to eat, because I can see the way you're talking. This is waiting already, and I'm like, really? I know you love food,
Of
but we
course,
need.
I do.
They also need to take,
Yeah.
a little bit of break from seeing us and all our gist. Let's go on a break, and when we come back, we'll continue on all the dishes they have there. You are welcome back from the break. Remember, you can join the conversation on Facebook and YouTube. Send in your comments, whatever you know about the Solomon Island. We also need to be educated by you, and even as we are also educating you. When we went for the break, Linda here ate a full plate of poi, and you said you don't like it. So do you like it now?
I do.
But one thing I also noticed is that these people have different types of fruits.
Yeah.
And I think I can survive. And you were saying apart from fish, what do they have? They have pineapple, they have
Yeah,
banana,
bananas.
they have a lot of different types of fruits, and then they
Yeah,
also
it's
have
an island.
cassava
They
that
have
at least you
trees
can
now.
put, one or two together.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the
Cassava
idea of
pudding.
putting that fish and pineapple, or fish and banana and all those
Yeah,
things.
fish.
And another thing again that I noticed that these people also love, they also love it like Nigerian people too, is the plantain. They love frying plantain, and but they have a lot of food. I just feel like they should not be hungry. But even though when you hear about these people, you get to hear how some of them are not living well. But don't forget, for the fact that we are talking about Solomon Island, they have also villages, and then they have what grows in some parts, and then what does
then
not
doesn't,
grow in
yeah.
some parts. So I think most of the parts that who don't really have what to eat are parts who don't have enough of all these things that we are seeing. When you talk about vegetables in Nigeria, definitely you can see how, Nigeria, we have vegetables, we have this, we
Yeah.
have that, but it is in Plateau you get to have all these things cheaply,
Available, very cheap, yeah.
and then very, very accessible. Like you can just go to any nearby market and you
And
get
just
all
get
these
it.
things.
And it's
But when you
affordable.
get to some other parts, you hear like it is more like
And the
a
prices are
story
just-
to them.
yeah,
Oh,
actually.
really? We have these things in this kind of. So it is the same thing in Solomon
Yeah.
Island. For the fact that they have all these things, it's not like okay, everywhere
Always,
there
yeah,
they
it's
have.
everywhere. Yeah, when you're talking about everything, it's not really that everything is everywhere for them, because when you talk about fruits, there are places where it grows and there are places where it doesn't at all. And then they have oranges as well, but really they said it's not really sweet the way it is in other places. Like the taste of it is, I think it has a different taste.
It's too much water.
It's actually so like actually it's too much water, so that's why it's not really sweet
Are you
for
not
them.
seeing? Let me talk about miango pepper. Why are you laughing?
Are you
Let
for
me give
real right
example with
now?
mango pepper.
Okay.
Uh-huh. During the dry season, they used to say, I don't know if it's an old saying,
Okay.
how they say mango pepper is the
It's
most
hot.
most hot or
Hottest
pepperish
pepper.
pepper. But now people are complaining, but I think it's because of the rain. Now, most times when it's raining season, all the hotness,
Reduces
reduces because of the much
water.
water it takes in. So I think it's the same thing that I feel that is the reason why these people's oranges are not really nice. But why is your face
What an
looking like you're not
example.
agreeing to what I'm saying?
No. Actually, yeah, it's due to the water because too much of water really in fruits is not really nice. Because watermelon as well. When you take it so far as you taste it and then you feel it's not really sweet because of the water. So really it's because of the water. That is why the oranges are not really nice. But most of the fruit over there is actually something you want to taste. And I want to have pineapple, I want to have banana because like I just think I want to eat the fruit since I'm eating the poi already.
If the pineapple is sour, I don't like it.
Yeah, because it weakens the teeth as well, so you won't be able to eat any other thing again. But anyways, when we try it, we'll know how it feels like, and then if you want to try it again or not. When you're eating anything in Solomon Island, it's more like you tell yourself, if you're eating this, you need to be careful. That was why I didn't really eat much of the poi because I don't want to have any issues later on. Because it is actually nice, but there are times that you need to give yourself warning. Like this thing, you don't need to take it too much because it's your first time. So then don't take it much because you might end up having issues and then you will not really be comfortable where you're going to because we have a lot of places to go to. When you're talking about having fun, again, they have places to go to in Solomon Island, and then when they go, they have the scuba and the snorkeling because I don't really like that because I'm scared of entering inside the water and they can just dive into it and then just get missing inside before you can just find them coming out in another different place. I don't like that, but then they have
they
fun.
grew up in this thing, like it is
Actually.
a part of their life, it's their lifestyle.
Yeah,
They are so
tourists
used to it.
actually have fun in doing that, but then it's not everybody because when this is something you don't like or you've never tried this, don't try it alone because something might end up happening to you and then like even people that can actually swim very well really get scared of all these things because it has happened. Like I've heard of a lot of stories of people that can actually swim that they went to swim and then they were in the pool and then all of a sudden something happened. Like you cannot even find them and then sometimes they tell you it just happened and then you miss them, like you no longer see them because they are dead already.
This reminds me of like wrestling. Why am I relating everything to something?
Okay,
But
let's
today,
hear you.
actually, this reminds me of how, when we were young, we used to watch wrestling and be like, hey, this one is beating this one, and you're all happy.
happy.
And then they will go for an advert and they will tell you, don't try this at home. So I think what
That's
you're
an
saying is, don't try this at home.
Don't try
It's
it.
not everything you see people doing that you can
want to do, actually.
As long as I know you would want to explore, but you have to be
but then
careful to
you
do
need to be
things that you
careful.
can take, things that you can do. And even as you're eating, whatever you're eating, you need to wash them.
Watch it.
You have to be very careful because the weather there is harsh. It's not really when you talk about taking care of things and then how the environment is, it's not really that clean. But it depends on where you are. It depends on where you
Simple.
are.
Yeah,
And I don't
true.
know how many places we are going to go to, but they have a lot of clean places. They have a lot of clean people, but they also have a lot of places that are not so neat. So whatever you're eating, you have to be careful depending on where you are and what you're doing.
I need to be careful really because I think I don't want to fall ill before I come back. They also go for boat tours. Like in as much as it's an island, they go for boat tours. Like they can just stay and just decide, okay, and then they have fun with it. Like just go in a boat and then just roll in the water and then just go from one place to another because it's more like it's one of their means of transportation. When they want to go to maybe a different village, they need to cross this water, they need to do this, and then they still have fun in doing it.
Do you know they have one of the largest water
Yes, that is
in
why
the world.
in the world. That is why most times when they want to travel, they still, because you can't tell me you want to swim in that water and go to another village. How now? For how many hours? So like then they really they still have fun in doing all of that because it's more like they are used to it. But you can't just get used to something and keep doing it, and maybe you cannot just change. You really need to change like a certain thing that you do. Maybe if you're used to taking this particular route, like you need to change it for a while, because you don't know, maybe this is, maybe somebody's trying to is trying something to for you, or maybe trying to, because you know, like the rates at which they do a lot of things over there is really sad. Because when you say you actually like this thing, or maybe you like this person because this person has this particular thing that you don't have, then you feel it is not right, or you feel this person is not supposed to have it, I'm supposed to be the one to have it. So then you now feel, now envy comes in. So then being careful is actually one of the key things that we need to watch, we need to do, because when you're not careful about certain things, you will end up entering trouble, because you don't know who is actually against you. In as much as you are new in this particular place, you need to be careful of the things you want to do and places you want to enter. And then they advise that you don't travel at night alone, because in as much as it's actually okay for you to travel, but they're not at night, because there are a lot of things that can happen to you.
Where do you know that you want to travel in the night?
It's just an advice, because you can't just travel at night. It's more like, if you want to travel, you make sure you're with somebody, and then especially someone that is from that place, that knows these particular places, and then he knows, okay, this particular place. It's more like when you're traveling to a particular country or a state, you can tell you from this place to this place, like, it's not safe by this time. So you need to know when you're going to travel, and then make sure you're not around this place by this time. And then it's more like they advise you ahead of time. So that is why we just need to be careful wherever it is we are going
to me, I just feel anywhere we are going, we should have someone with us.
True.
It can't be like because we are two. See, it is two of us. It's equal to one.
It's equal
in
to
this
one.
place, so
Yeah,
because we
true.
cannot know that much.
Yeah.
No matter how we have researched, no matter how
Actually.
someone has researched, going to a place, just being alone, or just being like just the tourist alone, is not really advisable. Call somebody who can tour you around. Call somebody who can tell you this place is safe, this place is not safe, this is what you should do, this is what you should not do. And then they can even tell you what you can do by this time at so place, so that you would know, so that you will not use your day, like without having a particular way or structured way you would want your day to go. If it's the market, you can tell somebody to take you to the market. Like, in fact, they will even tell you, they recommend the best market for you, and then whatever you want, you can get at that market. And especially the young people who don't really have much to do, those ones are more fun, because they will tell you everything. In fact, they will have the more ginger and the vibe to take you to everywhere you want to go to. And talking about lack of employment in that place that has made these people to be who they are. Have you seen a hungry person? A hungry person is an angry person. So most times these people, because of the lack of things they have to do and the lack of resources, even the natural resources, some people don't have access to all these natural resources. Yes, it is our city or it is our village, but some people have more than some people,
of course.
And then so the lack in it sometimes makes them just want to go to the streets and do some things, harm some people. You will even think, most times they'll say, it's a village now, they don't know anything, they cannot do. Sometimes it's even in the villages that the most harm happens. When you talk about the young women going to the stream to get water, that is where the young men will just go there to harm them, or to do some things that are not, that are so uncalled for, and all those things. So I think they need to be sensitized, not just to not just for them to go to school, but for them to understand that there are a lot of things they don't need to do as humans, because trust me, karma always comes back to haunt people. So even if you think there are some cases of an olden days thing that has happened, it will keep reoccurring and all that. So it will just be following generation. But they need to break that, thing of rape, thing of, the young women cannot just be on their own. And another thing again, you see young women or young child of 15 years, even in fact, even the male and the female, it's not just the female. Other countries you hear how the female are being given out at the age of 13, 15. But here in Solomon Island, you can see a child of 15 years, a male, getting married, and I wonder what the person will be feeding the women, honestly, or the woman with.
More reason why the crime rate is increasing every time. Because what do you expect at the age of 15, when you're still trying to struggle? maybe to be in school, secondary school.
You're trying to even figure
Trying
out
to
what
figure
the
out what you
world is
want
all
to be.
about.
Do you understand? And then you're thinking you're getting married. Like, I was wondering, like, like I'm just imagining myself at the age of 15 and I'm getting married, and then you're saying you have a husband, maybe you have a child again. Like, it doesn't sit well with
And
me
the
though.
feel is like, okay, you will not have too much exposure,
Yeah,
so
so
that
you
you will
need to
not
just,
be, but it
like,
doesn't.
really, like, there are some other parts in Solomon Island where they just tell you, okay, maybe when you get to the age of 18, that's when they allow you to get married. Now they're still battling with that, accepting either 15 or 18. But then
So the 18 is much.
like, that is what they feel like. 18 is too much for you. Like, how would you be 18 and you're still in your house? And there are countries that will tell you when you are 18, that is when you're able to do a lot of things for yourself. So that you have the right to leave your parents' house, you have the right to do anything you want to do because you are 18.
And some other countries feel like you cannot leave your parents' house at the age of 18. In fact, as a woman, as long as you're not married, even
You
if
can't
you're
leave your
40,
parents' house,
if you
true.
leave your parents' house, it
So you
is
see?
another thing you want to go and do.
So people's
they-
culture differs. So, like, but then it's interesting to know that when they try to say a lot of things and then maybe they try to change it, they change it a bit and they don't. So they're still developing, they're still telling themselves that, okay, maybe this thing is right or this thing is not. They are not plenty in that place. So, like, they're still trying to,
They are just a little bit
develop.
over 600,000.
Just imagine.
But they
just-
have different people, different
Yeah.
culture, and that is one thing I also like about them. They are not much, but they accept people.
They accept
also,
people a lot, yeah.
and then they stay peacefully. Aside the fact that there are some crimes here and there, but they
Yeah.
still respect people's culture. They respect people's beliefs, and then how you understand things. So I think I really like that about them.
Yeah, of course. And then I heard again they go for hiking a lot, a lot.
Wait,
a
they have
lot.
mountains. How
Yes,
would they go hiking?
go for hiking. They
They
go for hiking
on
trails.
water.
They go for hiking trails, and then they just try to, like, maybe more like an exercise, like just to walk a bit, like just climb little. Of course, they have places like it's a bit hilly, so at least they can actually go
In
there
their
to
minds,
just
they want to go for hiking. Yeah.
actually. And then it's actually they find it interesting because they go, like, they don't just go like in their little numbers, like they make sure that they go in their troops, like just for them to have fun. And then I always say when you're going for hiking, if you're more than 10, that's when you have the fun. But then if you're like maybe let's say just 5, like there's no fun in it because like it's just limited. But then when people are just like everywhere, you can just disperse. Maybe before you turn, this other person is by this place, and then that's the fun of it. And then be like, I want to get to this place where this person is, and before you get, the person has left. So like it's just an interesting thing. And then I really love to hike.
Are you seeing my face?
I'm seeing your face.
I'm beginning to I'm just imagining, okay, what is interesting in all these things that Linda is saying?
It's interesting because I love to hike. I love to meet people. I love to hang out with people. I love to talk to people. So like when you meet people and then you're discussing and then you're just talking about everything, like everything, even if it has to be like maybe their food, maybe what they do or where they're going to, what they do for a living, and all of that. It's just interesting to exchange pleasantries. And then when you talk about saying when tourists get to that place, they welcome them a lot. So then they don't really look at you and be like, okay, no, like this person is not supposed to be here and all of that. They welcome people and then they take you along. So when you tell them you want to go to this particular place and then you don't know this place, there are places where someone can just harm you. Can tell you, okay, since you don't know this place, I will describe this place for you, and then he takes you somewhere and then he does something to you that you end up regretting. Maybe he kills you or something.
And yes, you have to. We also have to be careful.
Very careful
for the
about
fact
that.
they said you can meet people for them to take you to places. You have to be
Very
very
careful
sure
because you don't know who is going to harm you or not.
You have to be very sure that this person is somebody you can trust.
Yeah.
Because there are people who can lure you to a place and then
Of course,
harm
and just
you.
harm you. It happens, like it's happening everywhere. Like the security in different places, like it's becoming something else. So then when you talk about going to a particular place, I think even if we're going to, we should go like the daytime, like even when it's getting dark, like we should just give up, because going out in the evening is bad. It's dangerous because when you go out in the evening, you don't know what you're
fish that
seeing.
you want to eat is in the evening, or they told
It's in the
me that-
evening, yes, but you can get it and go back home. It's very simple. Like my safety matters.
But there's this, but they have fun. No, okay, let's have people. People can have people that can go there with them. Just the way you said you love being with a lot of people when you go out, not just hiking, I'm sure. But then or is it just hiking?
Mostly hiking, because where else again do I want to go? Plenty people. Like,
But
it
then
doesn't make
what I'm
sense.
saying is, okay, since you don't know a, yeah, like if you don't know a place, you should go with somebody, or you should go with like maybe a little number of people. Okay, let me say two other people who you
At
feel
least.
okay. We are two, so we need two people
So
that
we
can
need two
protect
people at
us.
least, because we can't just protect ourselves.
Yes, because these people also have evening life.
Yeah, of
You
course.
know, they love going out, especially for the young people. They can meet up, discuss and talk about how they want to improve themselves. Because there are a lot of people, no matter how, a place is, you will definitely get to a place where you will see people have interest in helping themselves. It's just that they probably don't have the resources, or they don't have the means of making that thing happen, but they try to make sure that they try something for themselves. And most times in Solomon Island, you see, sometimes they say, you will see young people gathering together, it not just picnic, but going out, hanging out, meeting people, understanding what the world is, especially those ones that are coming from the cities. Have you seen how they used to keep
Of course.
fans around? Because everybody wants to know, how
You're
is
coming
the
from the
city?
city,
How did
yeah,
you
and
do
then
this?
you look
What are you?
different.
Yeah, because definitely when you leave the village and go
village.
to the city, there will be a little bit of difference,
Of
especially
course.
when you have something you're doing. So when you come back, everybody wants to
They're
associate
expecting
themselves with
everything
you,
from you. Like, you just need to bring something
like
for
you're a
them.
celebrity.
So like, it's interesting to know that when you have something good like for you, because it's not just everybody that wants something that just feels like, I don't want to develop myself. Like, most people want to develop themselves. So when you leave the village, most time they tell you, get out of your comfort zone. Like, just get out of it and then just hustle. Just get something for yourself that you can actually come back and then even show. Because people in the village, like most of them, they're just confined in just their own village. Like, they don't really go out to do anything because they feel, this is where I am. Like, I cannot move. Like, I just want to farm. I want to just make it here. But other people feel when they go to the city, they get it better over there. Like, even when they don't even go to school, but at least another hustle over there, like, is better for them, because they feel when you get something over there, and then when you come back to the village, you give it to the village as well. So then they now feel you have everything, because you're now back to them and then you give to them. So like, it's just interesting to know, like, maybe let's say even when you go to the village, people will still be happy seeing a celebrity coming back.
What did you say?
Of course.
What did you say?
Yes, they'll be so
Like-
excited to see you, because they know you have a lot of goodies to bring to them. So it's interesting to know that when you leave the village and you come back because you want to meet your loved ones that you left behind, and then now you're back for them.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you love working under the trees?
Of course, but not in the night.
No, I don't understand. We're in Solomon
Yes.
Island. How can we go
Yeah,
in the
I
night?
love to work.
So I
under
think
the
we'll just
trees.
take a little bit of, work, go under the tree. I really do love working under the tree, like, because it gives you this peace of mind, this,
The cool
this,
breeze, and
yeah,
then
you
just
think well.
Yeah, I understand.
But then it's just for us to go and see how they cut down the trees, how they treat the trees and all those things, because I want to learn. I think this is one thing the young people should go into, even though they say the machineries and all those things for that type of job is actually expensive, but it is a common thing. They also have people who get them, people who are rich, who get them
Cut
the
it for them.
machines, and then when they give the machines to them, they give returns. And some of them complain about their masters, those people that give them the machines, how sometimes they get to frustrate them to the extent that they give them back their machines, and then they go back to square one. And so it's
start
really
all over
really not good. So the people should give a little bit of mercy in what they are doing, so that these people can also find something to
Yeah,
eat.
true.
And this cutting of trees is not just in Solomon Island.
No,
We have
it's
a lot of
everywhere,
people
yeah.
here who also do that. It's just for them to
But then the noise of how that thing sounds, like cutting off those trees, like.
what are you saying? It's really nice when you get to hear it,
But at
like
least
it's
from
not
afar,
it's not
yeah.
all the time.
Not all
We
the
just
time,
well, let's just go there.
Yeah, let's
hear
go
it
and have
then come
fun
back
and
home.
do it. Yeah, let's go and have fun.
So I think this is the time for us to
Of
go
course,
there.
yeah.
And we don't need the cameras there, because we want to have full time to
Yeah,
enjoy
actually.
ourselves before we go back to our country. So what do you have to say before we leave?
I just want to say, be careful in Solomon Island. Solomon Island is a beautiful place for you to be, but make sure you're careful with everything you hold dear to your heart.
Okay, what I have to tell you is that I love the people of Solomon Island. I
And their
love the
blonde
color
hair.
of their hair, especially the old people. They actually look beautiful with, the mixture of the gray and then the gold. So you can visit the Solomon Island, but just the way Linda here has said, you should be careful even as you're in Solomon Island. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.